The war ended in ashes, and his lord's banner burned beneath the crimson morning sky. He stood among corpses, clutching his blood-stained blade, vowing never to serve another master again. His lord's final words echoed through memory: "Protect the boy, no matter what it costs." From that day, he became a shadowed wanderer, nameless and bound by a fading oath. The boy, once trembling with grief, grew quiet, gentle, and wise beyond his years. They moved from village to village, unseen travelers guided by the ghost of lost honor. Assassins followed, sent by the warlord who feared the return of the fallen heir. Each night, the Ronin's blade sang through darkness, cutting down memories as much as foes. He never rested, never spoke of his past, fearing the boy would see his guilt. The sword that once protected glory now served only silence and survival in endless exile. Years passed, and the boy's eyes no longer burned with vengeance, only sorrow and resolve. He spoke softly, saying vengeance would not rebuild the world their enemies had destroyed forever. The Ronin's heart trembled, torn between his vow and the purity of mercy before him. Could peace exist for one who had lived only for the art of killing? One evening, they reached the ruins of their ancestral temple, buried in ivy and dust. The Ronin knelt before the altar, placing his master's blade upon cold, forgotten stone. He asked the gods if loyalty still had meaning when the innocent wished to forgive. A whisper of wind through the bamboo answered, or perhaps it was his own soul. At dawn, soldiers arrived, bearing the warlord's crest, demanding the boy's head as tribute. The Ronin stepped forward, his old armor gleaming faintly beneath the rising sun's pale light. He knew he could not protect the boy forever, but he could buy his future. Steel clashed against steel, echoing through mist as he faced a dozen without hesitation or fear. Each swing carried the weight of a promise, every breath a memory of his fallen lord. He fell at last, bleeding upon the earth that had once seen his master's final stand. The boy wept, kneeling beside him, whispering that vengeance was never his destiny to keep. The Ronin smiled faintly, blood on his lips, eyes reflecting cherry blossoms drifting through smoke. He told the boy to live, not to remember his death but his choice. In his final breath, he felt peace for the first time since the world burned. The soldiers lowered their blades, moved by a silence heavier than any command or threat. The boy buried the Ronin beneath the old tree where their journey had quietly begun. Seasons passed and blossoms returned, blooming brighter over the grave of a forgotten warrior. Legends spread of a nameless protector who died for peace instead of conquest or revenge. Villagers spoke of a ghostly figure watching over children in the moonlit rice fields. Some said he still carried his master's blade, though it now shone with gentle light. Others believed the boy's forgiveness freed his spirit, ending an era of endless war. The temple ruins became sacred ground where travelers prayed for courage to break the cycle. Generations later, a young warrior visited, seeking wisdom instead of blood or empty victory. He found the rusted sword resting in moss, untouched, yet gleaming faintly under dawn's light. In that silence he understood true strength lies not in vengeance, but in restraint. The Ronin's story faded into time, but his choice echoed in every heart that heard. Even in a world built on honor and death, mercy remained the bravest act of all. The cherry trees bloomed each spring, petals drifting like whispers of unfulfilled oaths and forgotten pain. Under their shade, peace endured, quiet, fragile, and eternal as the promise he once made. For every blade raised in anger, another hand now trembled, remembering the nameless Ronin's mercy. His spirit lingered not as a warrior, but as the memory of compassion reborn. The boy became a wise ruler, carrying no sword, only the will to protect. And in his rule, the Ronin's final wish blossomed, a world without the need for revenge. The wind carried his name into legend, and legend became the heart of the people. Where once stood a man bound by blood, there remained only peace, blooming beneath falling petals. The Ronin's promise was fulfilled, not through death, but through the life it chose to spare.